Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we've got the Freehold boss dungeon guide, and up first we have Skycap'n Kragg. Now this boss has two phases, one while he's mounted and one while he's not. Now while he is mounted, he will be charging at a random target and it's going to look like this on the ground. This charge will do damage and a knockback. He also does do random unavoidable shots of damage as well, so they just need to be healed through. In his second phase, when he does dismount, everyone should be spreading out as much as possible. He will be casting a frontal cone shot at a random person, so spreading out will minimize the impact of this on your group. Also, he will be drinking revitalizing brew, which will cause him to heal, so as soon as you see him doing that, go ahead and interrupt him as soon as possible. And there will also be random pools of Vile everywhere on the ground, just don't stand in them. If you are doing this dungeon on heroic or mythic mode, what you will see is that his parrot mount will come down to the edge of the arena and charge in a straight line. This charge will do damage and a knockback, so make sure you know where that parrot is, and if it is going to charge in your direction, move out. Up next, we have the Council of Captains. This is going to have a complete pre-boss event as well in the area right before this boss. The events can either be to chase down a dog, or the entire group needs to get drunk with the Vulperians, or you will have big AoE pulls right before the boss as well. Now there are 3 bosses in this fight, however if you complete the pre-boss event, only 2 of them are going to be active and 1 of them will be your ally. So the first boss here would be Captain Raoul, and what he does is he will cast a barrel smash every so often. You'll see this swirling underneath him right here, and basically what needs to happen is everyone needs to get away from him, because for the next few seconds he will be smashing on the ground underneath him, causing large amounts of damage and knockbacks. Something else that Captain Raoul will do is he will throw a barrel on top of a random player on your group. This barrel does damage and disorients your party member, so what you want to do is go over to the barrel and destroy it as quickly as possible. Up next we have Captain Eudora, and what this captain will do is actually disengage away from the fight and shoot around the battlefield, going from the captain's left to the right. So what you need to do as soon as you see this is move behind the boss to avoid taking damage, or if you don't have high mobility, what you want to do is actually run through the shots so you only get hit by 1 instead of by 2. The last possible captain you can have active is Captain Jolly. What this guy will do is mark a random location, charge and deal damage, so if you see anything like this on the ground, make sure to move out of it as quickly as possible. He will also throw out a spinning blade with a small AoE around it. Do not stand in it, and as a tank, you have to let this blade come back to the boss and actually get absorbed by him in order for this to leave the battlefield. So depending on which one of these captains is also friendly, you do get different buffs out on the field. If Captain Eudora is friendly, the Vulperian, Eudora will stun a random captain for up to 6 seconds. If Raoul is friendly, he will actually throw down a keg on the ground that'll buff you and your entire team for 15% damage. And if Jolly is friendly, he will actually give you run speed. Now in heroic and mythic mode, what you will have is that the bartender over on the left hand side of this arena will actually be friendly and will be casting 1 of 3 brews. This brew will be cast on top of a random boss, and sometimes you'll want to share the buff with the boss, and other times you won't. Confidence boost is actually going to give plus 50% crit, invigorating brew will give plus 30% haste, and caustic brew will actually deal damage. So if you do see the bartender casting caustic brew, make sure to move out of that and don't receive that buff, and for the other 2, you do want to stand in that and get the buff. Now up next for the third boss position is the Ring of Booty, which actually has a lot of really small events. The first event is you do have to catch this pig. Now as soon as this pig enters the arena, he will enter right on top of this bone pile, so you can get 1 quick click on him. And after that, you just have to chase down the pig and right click him as much as possible until the event is over. And up next you have a little mini boss called Ludwig von Tortollen. Now this guy only has 1 ability. He will start throwing shells all around the arena. These shells do not disappear and continue bouncing for the entire duration of the fight. After you defeat this turtle boss, you will get the main boss, which is Trothak. Now Trothak will randomly apply a bleed effect to a melee around him. He will also cast Sharknado as seen here, which does cause an AoE around him. It doesn't deal a high amount of damage, so you can pop a defensive if you want to and stay in it, but it's mostly recommended you run out to not stress out your healer too much. And the big thing with this boss is that he will throw a shark at a random person in your group. This shark will continue to chase the closest person to it. What you need to do for this shark is actually just kite the shark. He will eventually pick it up and then throw another one out. So continuously kite this shark and make sure it doesn't hit you because it does do very big damage. Now on heroic and mythic mode, there is going to be chum on the ground like this. This chum is going to snare anyone and anything that runs through it. So what you want to do is kite the sharks through the chum so that they receive a permanent 50% debuff until they're picked up. So every single time a shark gets thrown out there, make sure you kite them through chum in order to snare them so you can keep doing the boss. Now the last boss in this dungeon is Harlan Sweete. Harlan Sweete will mark a non-tank player and have that player get bombarded and drop fire below them. That looks exactly like this. Something else that this boss does is called the Swift Wind Saber, and what this does is it'll throw out random blades that do damage and knockback. Now ranged players should stay away from the boss a decent distance, trying to maximize as much as they can, because they will be able to actually dodge these sabers if they can see them ahead of time. For melee, it's a little bit more difficult. And the last thing that this boss will do is spawn ads. This ad will be focusing one person in your group, chase them down, and blow up on them. However, this mob does have a timer for the bomb that they are holding, so something else you can do is just throw out a CC, snare, or a stun on this mob and have them blow up away from your group. Now at 60%, this boss's abilities will actually become stronger. Harlan Sweete will begin marking multiple people that are going to be dropping fire. The Swiftwind Saber will throw out a lot more blades, about 3 times as many, and you can also get multiple ads spawning at once now as well. And from 30% below, the boss will actually have 100% more attack speed and faster abilities. However, the boss will also take 100% more damage, so this is your burn phase that gets really chaotic. Now that does it for the Freehold boss dungeon guide. If you like my content and like what I do, want to help support the channel, go ahead and visit my Patreon down below. I do also stream every Wednesday and Friday here and on Twitch, so give me a follow on your favorite platform. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, good luck out there.